Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the White Coat Ceremony of the class of 2028. At this time, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Charles Monica, our Chancellor, Dr. Glenn Jacobs, our Provost of St. George's University, Dr. Marius Lucas, the Dean of the School of Medicine, Dr. Robert Grant, Senior Associate Dean of Clinical Studies, and our keynote speaker, Dr. Mark Clunas, Senior Associate Dean of Basic Sciences, Dr. Neil Olson, Dean of the School of Veterinary Medicine, Dr. Lucy Clunes, the Dean of Students, Dr. Anthony Andel, representative of the Provost Office, the deans, chairs, and heads of departments within St. George's University School of Medicine, our faculty members, specially invited guests, staff, parents, and most especially our students. As a proud alumnus of St. George's University School of Medicine, I have very vivid memories of my own white coat ceremony many, many moons ago. The excitement, the anticipation, and yes, the nerves. Donning this white coat was to me taking on a mantle of responsibility to my future patients and colleagues. A responsibility to serve, to prioritize empathy, compassion, and a patient-centered approach to medicine. An approach that goes just beyond treating symptoms to truly understanding and addressing the individual needs and concern of every patient in my care, and of course, ultimately in your care. I would now like to share with you a brief history of this ceremony. In 1993, the Arnold P. Gold Foundation created the White Coat Ceremony at Columbia University's College of Physicians and Surgeons to promote humanism in medicine. With guidance from the Gold Foundation, St. George's University School of Medicine initiated its own White Coat Ceremony in 1996, long before many other US medical schools. In 2003, the Gold Foundation founded the Gold Humanism Honor Society, an international society dedicated to the promotion of humanism, professionalism, and ethics in medical practice and in medical education. Sadly, Dr. Arnold P. Gold passed away at the age of 92. He was an international advocate for humanism in healthcare and in medicine, and we were honored to have hosted Dr. Gold and his wife, Sandra, as keynote speakers for our spring 2025 White Coat Ceremony. St. George's University's chapter of the Gold Humanism Honor Society is based in the Department of Clinical Skills and supported by the Dean of Medicine's office. Our chapter established a humanitarian student organization in 2009, and through this organization, basic sciences students promote humanism across the St. George's University and Grenadian communities. Chapter members are nominated by their peers and inducted during their clinical training when they participate in an ongoing chapter project. It is now my pleasure to welcome to the podium Dr. Glenn Jacobs, Provost of St. George's University.
Good afternoon. I hope you are all doing well. I stand on the protocol already established. On behalf of St. George's University, I would like to welcome all of you to the campus and the island of Grenada. I'm so pleased that our Chancellor, Dr. Charles Monica, could join us here today for this White Coat Ceremony. A warm welcome to all the parents, family, and friends present here today. Now, I hope you are enjoying your stay here on the island. You are fortunate to be visiting us during a very special time in Grenada. Now, this year, Grenada is celebrating its Golden Jubilee, its 50th anniversary of independence. Big round of applause for that. Now, we at St. George's University are happy to celebrate this event with the community of Grenada. And what a special time for you to receive your white coat. Now, you might have noticed all the different colors around the island, as well as here on our campus, all the red, green, yellow / gold colors. And we've become very familiar with that. But those colors, very similar to these colors, obviously the colors of the flag. Now, you might know what these colors represent, or you might not. So, just to remind you again, the green stands for the islands, vegetation, and agriculture. The red for courage and fertility. And the gold or yellow represents warmth and wisdom. Now, I'm going to get back to that word, wisdom. And that's what I would like to reflect on with you students sitting here in front of me. Students, I'm very happy to welcome you in person. Now, I will not be addressing you that often. The next time I probably speak to you in a group together will probably be during your graduation. Yep, you'll be amazed how quickly that will be. Now, you have all come here with great intellect. You have and will gain lots of knowledge while being at SGU. But I trust during your time here, you will also develop that word I referred to, your wisdom. John Isso, best-selling author, explains it so well in his book, The 5 Secrets You Must Discover Before You Die. Wisdom is different and fundamentally more important than knowledge. Knowledge is an accumulation of facts, whereas wisdom is the ability to discern what matters and what does not matter. Unless we can discover what really matters, we cannot find the true meaning to life. So always if you see this flag, wherever you go, and you see that yellow, that gold, that warmth and wisdom, remind yourself of this day today. I will encourage you to explore this beautiful island of Grenada and get to know this great community. When you see me on campus, please stop me, introduce yourself. You can also come to the Chancellery. I'm in there. Just ask for the Provost, and they will guide you to my office. Enjoy this very special day with your loved ones. Wear your white coat with pride. Congratulations. You deserve it. It is now my pleasure to introduce you to Dr. Marius Lucas, the Dean of the School of Medicine. Thank you.
Good afternoon and congratulations to class of 2028. We are very proud, specifically us, the deans and the faculty, of this important milestone in your career. And it's extremely important also for us because you came to an institution that has great achievements. One of those we were again extremely proud is that we are the #1 provider of physicians in the United States for the past 4 years. So that's really a big achievement. So you're joining a very rich network of alumni, a very rich network of physicians, and you will continue our excellent traditions. Now I'm going to go a little bit off script. And instead of speaking about the cliche of the white coat ceremony, I want to mention 3, I think, advices that I have heard, I have practiced, and I would like to share those with you. The one is that you need to be always positive. That positivity needs to be part of your habit of your everyday life. Big smile, even if the world comes to an end. You're going to have difficulties in exams. You're going to have challenges with your friends. You're going to have challenges with your parents. You're going to have challenges with boyfriends and girlfriends. Plural, right? Boyfriends and girlfriends. You're going to have multiple issues. But the important part here is always you have to keep that positive attitude towards your life, towards the environment, towards everything you do. And once you have that positive environment and your positive energy, this passes to your patients. This passes to everybody around you. And guess what? It becomes a habit. And because we are creatures of habit, it's very important to be very positive. Everybody would like you. Suddenly, you'd be like, oh, I'm popular here. Yes, because you're smiling all the time. Second thing, there are going to be challenges. Ask for help. Medicine is not as selfish and it's not an ego type of profession. We always communicating and asking for help every single time. You don't have to be in a problem. You can score 90, 95% in the exams. Ask for help. Why? Because you want 100. You want 110. You want to go in and say, that was easy. Dr. Lucas, the exams are easy. Can you make it a little bit more difficult? You want that type of attitude, all right? So in order, yeah, sure, right? But in order to reach that part, you have constantly to ask for help. Think all the professional athletes. They all have coaches. And Tiger Woods has a coach. Everybody has somebody to help them. So try to do that, obviously, with your peers, but also with us. We have excellent faculty here, excellent, definitely, administration, and we have a Department of Educational Services, Psychological Services. All these people, they are here to help you to become better, not necessarily because you have a problem, but because you want to be better. And the last one, it's a little bit more fatherly advice now. Since I have a daughter that she's a student in arts and sciences, please make sure you talk to your parents and to your loved ones that they are not here in Grenada and they're like far, because they're in that journey, that difficult journey that you're going through, you're together. And they're worrying more than you can imagine. So when you're on FaceTime, please show your face on FaceTime and not like a blank screen. And say, hey, Dad, Mom, I'm doing well. Everything is good. You don't have to come down here. Or you have to come down here now. But, try to call them and try to tell them everything is good. I think it's very, very important, and I think they're sacrificing a lot together with you. So with those small fatherly remarks, I would like to introduce the legend, the founder of this university, Dr. Charles Modica.
Good afternoon. It's a great honor to be here with you, and it means a lot to me to see you face to face. And then afterwards, we had an A section and a B section. The A section just had the reception, and many people whose faces I saw came up, and we took some photographs together, and I was more thrilled than they were, believe me, but it's a good thing. Life is good. I'm one of the founders of the university, and I take this ceremony seriously, and I hope at one point during now or later, maybe if you're bored during my speech, you can do it now, but just think about what you're doing, this moment in your life. We have milestones, and sometimes we don't appreciate and recognize them as much as we should. If you're here today, there's something special about you. And pat yourselves on the back a little bit. And I came down to do that, and I mean it, because I came off a plane yesterday, American afternoon, going back in a few hours. So I came here for this. Many times I come here to meet with government officials, this, that, or the other thing. I came here for this. So it means something to me. You probably said, how did you get to be the chancellor of this university? Well, here's where I get to go into my story. That's okay. Whatever you dropped, you can get it later. I went to a foreign medical school myself in 1970. It was the era of the Vietnam War. Many students were going to foreign schools as well as U.S. schools. One of the reasons, unfortunately, was you had a draft deferment to go to med school. So if you weren't interested in traveling abroad with a uniform on, that was a good thing to do. I was also part of the baby boomers. We were called the baby, every generation has a name, but we were the boomers because I was born 2 years after the end of World War II. Don't you feel like George Washington is up here talking? I feel that way. So it was very difficult in that particular year to get med school. You had students who really wanted to become doctors, a limited number of seats in the US. We always have had that, unfortunately. And in fact, about 25%, more or less, I haven't checked it in the past year or two, but I'm sure you'll Google it an hour later, but about a quarter of all the US physicians are foreign trained, and many of them foreign born. And so I went to Spain, didn't get into a US school. We have something in common, probably. That's okay. And I went to Spain and studied in my first year, passed everything. It's a lot harder doing it in another language, trust me. And I was one of those who really wanted to be in medical school. Unlike, yeah, about half wanted to and half really didn't. They were just there for the draft thing, you know. And yeah, it is what it is, you know. So at the end of my first year, I decided way before I told my mom, that's a whole other story, that I wasn't going to go back. I decided I wasn't going to go back. I had passed everything. Unfortunately, my mom got my report in the mail. There was actually mail in those days, by the way, even from foreign countries. And the registrar sent my transcript, and I was aprobado, aprobado, aprobado. In Spain, they didn't have in many foreign countries, in fact, they don't have an MCAT, this one-day exam that changes your life. They had the selectivo year. That's what they called it. So you had to do pretty well in your first year, and then you could go to your second. So getting aprobado meant something. I mean, you were displacing some Spanish medical students at that point. And the reason I bring all this up is I studied my you-know-what off. And at the very end of it, I said, you know, maybe this is not for me. And I met many of my classmates at this school. It was in Oviedo, Spain, the north coast of Spain. We had 28 Americans there, and only 2 didn't pay an agency a fee to go there. And the fees in those days was $1,000. Today, that's probably like $4 or $5 grand. And all the agent did was process your application in Spanish, lots of rubber, you know, stamps and all that stuff, and whatever, ribbons and all that, and gave it to the government of Spain. And then there were 14 schools over there, and you were assigned to one of the schools. And that was the admissions process because it was selectivo. College transcript, certificate of good conduct from the local police department, literally, and you're in med school. But you had to prove yourself after 1 year. $1,000 each, 26 students paid. And the head of that agency came to our school and to talk to his clients, and myself and the one other fella who didn't pay the fee. You know, we sat in on the meeting. We were kind of curious because that was a lot of money in those days. You could have bought a microscope and all sorts of things with that money. And they were all happy that they got in and that he took care of them. But it's funny because I was in the back of the room with my friend David, who has since had his son graduate from here, by the way. We were sitting there, and he looks at his watch. He goes, I have to be leaving now. He was in a small hotel there in Oviedo, and he said, I have about 300 clients in Barcelona. The southern part of Spain is where you wanted to go, especially if you were a draft dodger. It was a nice place to be. And you know, David and I in the back row, we looked at each other. This guy made $26,000 from this one class. He's going to Barcelona with 300 students. That's like a lot of money in those days, even today, I would think. So it's funny how life is, but and that was in the spring, and thank God I went to the meeting. I said, you know, this is crazy. My classmates paid $1,000 each. They didn't have to do much but translate and go through a lot of paperwork. And so I wrote a guide on how to get into foreign medical schools. And I wrote to every pre-med advisor, every college in the country. And whatever the college name was, it was pre-med advisor, you know, Harvard University, and their address. And they put those little posters up for me, small 8x10 posters with order blanks, to see if I had enough volume to print the darn thing. I had written the guide when I was over there. I took photographs of schools all over Europe. And I said, you know, this is something great. I can make $1 and save people $92 of an agency fee. Well, the book sold really well. I kind of at that point, recognized that English-speaking schools could be a really great thing for medicine. And so what I did is, I'm now in law school. By the way, I told my mom the news. I'm not going back in the summer. My mom and dad met in Brooklyn. All my grandparents were Italian, came over on a boat, you know, type of thing. So when I told my mom I wanted to be a doctor in high school, it was a very emotional day for her. If I had known then what I know now, I probably wouldn't have mentioned anything. Maybe I would have been a pilot or something, God knows. But so it was a very powerful thing for her to more than encourage me once I made that announcement at 15 years old in high school that I was going to be a doctor. So I went to pre-med, and I was into it and everything like that, but I never had any other idea in my head. And I got to tell you that when I told my mom that summer, and she had already seen my report that I was approved to go on, she, you know, she's an Italian mother, first generation, and so she cried a little. But when the 2 weeks of crying was over, you know, she started to feel a little better. And I tell you that because there's a lot of proud relatives and parents and friends, and they should be proud that you want to become physicians. That says something very special about you. And so you wonder, well, how did this guy get to be chancellor? This long-winded story. What's going on here? Well, fast forward this number of years, okay, to last Wednesday, all right? I wrote that book I told you about, and I went to a lot of colleges to promote it. I would sell 30, 40 copies, and, you know, life was good. And I would go to the pre-med club at a number of colleges. And at every meeting, there was one or two students right at the beginning of the meeting. Okay, we like the book and everything. We'll buy a copy. We want to study in English. It's like, you're at the wrong meeting. These are foreign schools. Your chance of getting into a school in Great Britain or something is nil. So it didn't take a lot of imagination or intelligence, at least in my view, to say, wouldn't it be great if I can get involved in starting a school in the English language? Went to the local library where I got all the pre-med advisors' names and all that, and looked at the World Atlas. If the native language was English, they got a letter from the Foreign Medical School Information Center, which is my book publishing name, and asking them if they wanted to be in a feasibility study for a new international school that would primarily cater to U.S. citizens. Now, this was, well, I'm in law school now, okay? And by the way, after leaving med school for 1 year, and I say that I know there'll be some lawyer parents in the background. We talked about it after the earlier ceremony. I was a good student. I wasn't the greatest as far as I knew. I went to law school after 1 year of medical school, and out of a class of 300, I was number one in the class, my freshman class. And the reason I mention that is not to pat myself on the back, but to pat you on the back. That's how much easier studying law was than medicine. Trust me, you have no idea. You read cases, they're short stories, you know, no memorization. So when I tell you I respect you and you realize I mean that, somebody's probably buzzing me to get off the podium as quick as I can now. But it's a good story. I got to finish it now, especially because of this. So I undertook to write letters to all the English-speaking countries in the world. A few wrote letters back wanting to know more information. I would think so. And the study wasn't going very far. I had a shoebox, literally a shoebox on my desk, where I would take the envelopes that came back from the governments and just put the letter back in. So I didn't have enough for a file yet for this thing. I'm studying law, doing well, life is good. My book is still selling. I publish a new edition every year. Makes the libraries have to buy a new one every year. You change enough to make it a new edition, it works, you know. Hey, come on, you know. So, so here's where the dramatic part comes. 50, okay? As you know, you were down here. 3 days ago was the 50th anniversary of independence. Well, there was a young law student with a shoebox on his desk, okay? Thinking about this idea, I needed an independent country because I knew from my book what was required to be able to take the ECFMG exams. And it had to be an independent country that recognized the school, and the graduates of that school had to be fully eligible to practice in that country. Makes sense. You wouldn't want to have a school that you can't even practice in, but you can get a degree from. So in the bottom right corner of the Wilmington Evening Journal, I went to school in Delaware, part of Widener University, and I didn't buy the paper every day. I'm telling you. Talk about like if two little things didn't cross. I happened to pick up that paper. So 3 days ago, as you were sitting down here on the Independence, about 5 or 6 p.m., all right, I'm getting ready to study. In the World Today, a tiny section in the bottom right-hand corner of non-front page stories, the second one down, there was like 8 of those, each one like a paragraph, and then it tells you what page to go to. In the World Today, I don't know what made me glance at that section that day, the tiny nation of Grenada received independence this morning, because it was an evening paper, and blah, 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 from Great Britain. Do you think a little bell went off? Yeah, God did it. So I went all out now, and you wouldn't know what this even means because you have Snap, and WhatsApp, whatever you guys have. God bless you. I said, this calls for, I'm not just sending a letter to this country. First I got my globe, because I had used the globe for other countries. I go, Grenada, Grenada, Grenada. Oh yeah, there it is, it's above Trinidad. Good enough for me. Caribbean, that's even better. So I decided to send a telegram to the Prime Minister, Sir Eric Matthew Gary. His name is on one of our dorms. And, you know, like I'm 26 now, 25. And the Foreign Medical School Information Center wishes to congratulate the nation, Your Excellency, and the nation of Grenada on your recent independence, like yesterday, 50. As a newly independent nation, you are eligible for inclusion in the ongoing feasibility study for a new international medical school. That was the shoebox. That's my study, right? Okay. Of course, we would need to hear, since the study was ongoing, and it was more than 6 months, we would need to hear from you in the next 30 days, trying to get kind of a quick answer back in order for the country of Grenada, the nation of Grenada, to be included in the study. Now, you might say, well, that's a lot of words, and it was. You paid $1 a piece for the words in those days. But it was a telegram. So this day, as you sit here today, 50 years ago, I was sitting around wondering if I'm going to get an answer to that telegram. That was probably my last hope, all right? And about next week, as you're doing class on probably Tuesday or Wednesday, it was about a week later, I come back to my apartment from class, and I see a little bit, and you wouldn't know this either. Western Union envelopes are yellow for some reason. I see a little bit of yellow sticking under my door. Somebody delivered a telegram to me. Trust me, I was shaking. I didn't even open the door. I pulled it through, opened it up, and I'm saying to myself, they couldn't have used a telegram to say they're not interested. And I'll never forget it. And the lady who sent the telegram on behalf of the Prime Minister is still with us. You know, as we get older, you have to talk about that. I called her yesterday when I got here because I wanted to have dinner with her, and we have a lot of teary-eyed exchanges, but it was Gloria Payne, her name is, a wonderful lady. She signed it. The nation of Grenada wishes to be included in the study, and we presume it's not too late. We're within the 30 days. And what do we have to do next? Trust me, that telegram is all you had to do next. Yeah, 50 years ago. Yeah. And so I say this to, and you might say, well, how'd you get to be chancellor? Well, it took 2.5 years to get the charter. And first I had my dad know about the study. I hadn't mentioned anything. He knew about my book and my mom and everything. Didn't mention anything about the study because I didn't know where that would go. So the night I got the telegram back, 50 years ago, I called my dad and said, Dad, I got some great news. He goes, oh, great. In law school? No, I'm doing great. The book? Yeah, sales are great. No, I've been doing a study. I didn't mention it to you, but I got a telegram from a newly independent nation, and I can start a medical school there. And my dad, you know, he's an old school Italian guy, a builder, and he goes, son, I got 2 words for you. I go, what? You're crazy. Yeah. And looking back, he probably was right. At that time, I thought he was being awful to me, you know. So I pulled out all the stops. And if you're Italian, you don't know what I had to do. You call mom the next morning. You know, the same mother was still crying that I wasn't a doctor, but at least I'd be a lawyer. And I told her what happened, and she said, "That sounds wonderful, son." And I had forgotten. She had a different twist to it. My brother's 9 years younger than me. She said, "That would be wonderful. I think your brother might want to be a doctor. He might go through with it. He could go to that school." Gotta love it, right? And so fast forward, a few years after the school started, by the way, my brother did go to the school. He's been chief of intensive care at a hospital in Connecticut, where he did his clerkships. That's what happened. You do your clerkships and residency, and sometimes you stay there. My mother cried about that, too. He didn't go back to Long Island. And at any rate, fast forward a few more years, because when you talk about half a century, you can talk about decades. His son, my nephew, is also a graduate. He's in emergency medicine now, too. So my mom got a couple of doctors out of it anyway, you know. And yeah. So, the improbability of us being here and one possible newspaper away means a lot to me to see you, to honor you, to let you know how much respect I have for you and what you're doing. This is your day. And pinch yourself at one point and know that a lot of things could happen where we wouldn't be here together. And we wouldn't have benefited the nation. The nation of Grenada loves this school. We have a lot of scholarship students here from Grenada. We help the economy. It's been a wonderful voyage together. And we don't operate the school in Grenada. We operate it with Grenada. And that's why the school is what it is today, yeah. So now I finish off with a script which makes it much quicker, easier on you guys. If I found out one page I was on, I'm finding it. They're panicking in the front row. All right, I get to introduce our keynote speaker. He's a fellow Long Islander, by the way, Suffolk County, in fact. And he made his mom even prouder than I made my mom, because he graduated medical school. And his name is Robert Grant. He's a senior associate dean for clinical studies at St. George University now. And he's responsible for all aspects of the medical clinical training activities, including development and shared third and fourth year curriculum with clinical partners, site visits, and monitoring activities. In other words, when you go to your hospitals, you'll be seeing him a lot. Does a good job. We have a lot of hospitals too, which is a good thing. Prior to joining SGU, Dr. Grant was a plastic surgeon-in-chief at New York Presbyterian Hospital and University Hospitals of Columbia, as well as Cornell from 2004 to 2021. And in 1999 to 2019, Dr. Grant directed the plastic surgery residency program at NYPH. And from 2010 to 18, he served as the vice chair and then chair of the hospital's graduate education committee, a role for which he was responsible for oversight for all residency training programs across the hospitals Columbia and Cornell used. In addition to his academic rank as professor of surgery at SGU, Dr. Grant is also a professor emeritus of surgery at Columbia University Medical Center, College of Physicians and Surgeons, an adjunct professor of surgery, plastic surgery to be specific, at the University of Pennsylvania. He also holds a consultant appointment with the Roswell Park Cancer Institute in Buffalo, New York. And Dr. Grant is a member of the American Association of Plastic Surgeons, American Society of Plastic Surgeons, American Society for Aesthetic Surgery, the Association of Academic Chairpersons. It's got a lot of stuff going for him here. I just read a newspaper, you know. Association of Academic Chairpersons in Plastic Surgery, and is a fellow of the American College of Surgeons. In addition to having a robust reconstructive plastic surgery clinical practice, he also served as the NY Presbyterian Hospital System's physician advisor, director of care coordination, and medical staff office for more than a decade. He served as the inaugural president of the Association of Physician Leaders in Care Management and the physician branch of the American Case Management Association. Got a lot of stuff going. We're almost done, though. Dr. Grant received his BS in biology, magna cum laude, from Rensselaer Polytech Institute, and his MD degree, cum laude, from Albany Medical College. He completed his general surgery and plastic surgery residencies at the New York Hospital Cornell Medical Center. He finished clinical training with a microsurgical fellowship at NYU Medical Center, Bellevue Hospital, and he received his Master in Science and Management from NYU in 2000. So it's my great pleasure to present my fellow Long Islander who made his mother much prouder as your dean, Dr. Grant. Thank you.
Good afternoon, class of 2028. It is a great honor to be here today. Following the Chancellor is always a difficult task, but I'm up to the challenge. I would like to dispel the rumor that the Grant family name is shortened from Grantini because the Italian connection exists in the family, and that's the one aspect in my history that he forgot to mention. So despite boring you with all the things that I've accomplished in my career, I forgot to mention that one aspect of things as well. Chancellor Modica, Dean Lucas, Provost, my senior assistant, Dean for the Basic Sciences, Dr. Clunes, Dean of Students, Lucy Clunes, other members of the faculty, our Provost, colleagues, staff, families, friends, and most particularly students. I can't tell you how much of an honor and privilege it is to be here today to address you as your white coat speaker. I knew Dr. Arnold Gold when I was in practice in Columbia. Dr. Gold was a diminutive person in size only. His legacy, of course, stands many meters higher than me. It was good that he was a pediatrician. Because of his size, it was easy for him to see eye to eye with his patients. That physical action of bending down, seeing him eye to eye with his patients, spoke volume to me. It's a wonderful metaphor for making sure we meet our patients at their level, not necessarily ours. The white coat that you will receive today is more than just a piece of clothing. It is a symbol of trust, responsibility, and service. It represents the values and ideals that you have chosen to uphold as future doctors. Compassion, altruism, duty, honor, respect, and integrity. While you can remove the coat, you will never be able to relinquish your responsibilities and obligations to your patients and their care. You will become privy to people's deepest secrets and fears, and have the opportunity to make a difference in their lives in a way that no other profession ever can. I'm sure you're wondering what kind of career awaits you. When I started out in medical school, I thought I was going to be an eye doctor. And in the reception afterwards, I can tell you how my path meandered through various different types of opportunities until I found a love for reconstructive plastic surgery. But because I enjoyed a wonderful career at a number of institutions, I get newsletters from the different places where I still have academic connections. This one from the University of Pennsylvania came in the news just this week. And I want to share it with you because it has the story of a Dr. John Pryor in it. Dr. Pryor's story starts, as many of our students do, with someone who is distracted by all of the fun things one can do in college. He had a ball, but the cost of having that much fun meant that when he applied to medical school in the United States, he didn't get in. St. George's University accepted him. Reinventing himself, falling in love again with the study of medicine, allowed Dr. Pryor to have a wonderful career in general surgery and then ultimately as a trauma surgeon. As an aside, he met his future wife here. Now, that is not a responsibility or an obligation that I'm asking any of you students to do. It is a known fact that, at least in my medical school class, about a third of the people ended up marrying to each other. But as I say, if Cupid's arrow happens to land amongst you, we will celebrate that as well. Getting back to Dr. Pryor's story, after 9/11, he volunteered to join the Army as a combat surgeon. his family, his spouse, begged him not to join. But he felt it was his duty. As a trauma surgeon, he wanted to go where the need was greatest. He wrote a book which described the lives of those young soldiers that he saved, and even more poignantly, those that he was not able to. Sadly, on his second combat tour on Christmas Day 2008, he died in Mosul, Iraq. This newsletter summarizes the accolades he received for him and his family as the honoree for this year's 2023 Navy Ball just held in Philadelphia. Now, I'm not saying that each and every one of us is going to have a career as heroic as Dr. Pryor, but I have no doubt that each and every one of you, new medical students in our audience today, have the potential for that same kind of impact on at least one patient's life over the course of their career. Many of you know that as the clinical dean, I'm based in New York. I love coming to Grenada. I'll tell you a little bit more about my first trip here in a bit. One of the great things about living in New York, of course, is the opportunity to see live performances on Broadway. One of my favorites is Hamilton. How many have had the chance to see Hamilton? Fantastic show. Many of our students, I think, will have a path like this famous historical figure who spent time in the Caribbean before achieving great acclaim in Europe and the United States, and perhaps a touch of infamy as well. What I take out of that show, Hamilton, to share with our students today is to remember the advice that Aaron Burr gave Hamilton, which was memorialized in a song. It's important as each of us start a new potential part of our own personal journey, when you're the person who knows the least in the room. Aaron Burr said to Hamilton, "Smile more and speak less." If you don't know what's going on, smile more and speak less. Your mentors will know that you don't know. Smile more and speak less. The lesson is not about smiling more and speaking less. It's about the presence that you can have in any encounter just by being there. Amazing how Lin-Manuel Miranda was able to capture in just 4 words a message of such poignancy. As you put on your white coats for the first time, you will feel a mix of emotions. You will feel excitement, pride, anxiety, curiosity, perhaps even doubt. You may wonder if you are ready for this journey, if you have what it takes to succeed, or if you will be able to make a difference in the lives of others. I assure you, there is no imposter syndrome at SGU. You all deserve to be here, and we are very, very proud of you. You are part of a community of healers, a family of medicine that spans across time and space. You are connected by a common bond of knowledge, skill, and compassion. You are supported here at SGU by our network of teachers, colleagues, and your friends and loved ones, all who will guide you, inspire you, and most importantly, cheer you on. Ask for your help when you need it. You've heard that from the provost, you've heard it from the dean, and now you're hearing it from your clinical dean. Medicine is a team sport nowadays. It's called the practice of medicine because no physician ever masters the whole fund of knowledge in order to be able to practice independently anymore. An experienced clinician knows when to ask for a consultation. That's a fancy medical term for asking for help. Accept that there will be times when you give your best and things don't work out okay. That's fine, as long as you give your best. Take excellent care of yourselves, body, mind, and spirit. Remember what my friend and colleague, Vice Chancellor Rich Leibowitz has often reminded me. The flight attendants, when you're on the plane, when they're giving you that instruction during a potential decompression, remember, their instruction is to put your own mask on first before you go and help others. You all have worked very hard to get to this point. You have demonstrated your academic excellence, your personal growth, and your professional potential. You have earned the right to wear the white coat and to join us, the ranks of those who have dedicated their lives to the noble cause of healing. I know this is just the beginning of your journey. Remember that the white coat is not a badge of honor that grants you any special authority or prestige. It is, however, a reminder of your commitment to serve humanity with humility and excellence. It will always be a challenge, and is a challenge for every practicing physician, to keep learning, to keep caring, and to keep improving. The famed Canadian physician philosopher Sir William Osler said, "The secret to caring for the patient is to care for the patient. As you embark on this next phase of your medical education, I urge you to embark and embrace the opportunities and responsibilities that come with it. Be curious, be eager, learn from every patient, from every case, from every clinical encounter. Be respectful and courteous to every person you meet, regardless of their background, beliefs, or circumstances. One of the great advantages of being an international school like St. George's is that we all are from different places in the world, different countries and cultures. But our profession is shared. Remember, as a doctor meeting a patient, you're there as their healer. You're not there to be their loved one, their friend, or to discuss their political philosophy and how it differs from yours. Remember, our calling is to be there for a fellow man in time of need. That is the primary thing that physicians must always remember. Be humble and honest about your strengths and weaknesses. Seek feedback from your mentors and your peers. Be compassionate in facing the difficulties and dilemmas that are part of every practicing physician's life. Remember that ethics and professionalism in your conduct will allow you to uphold the highest standards of safety and quality. Be open to new experiences and challenges. And here I want to share how wonderful the world works. In 1973, a few years before Grenada got its independence, I visited Grenada for the first time. I was 12 years old. We visited Grenada on a cruise ship. My father was in the Navy. He loved to torture us by taking us on Caribbean cruises. Torture because the minute the ship left New York Harbor, I was on my knees puking until we got to the calm Caribbean. The picture that we have of our family landing in Grenada shows me with a big smile on my face. Not because I'm happy to be in Grenada, but I'm happy to be on dry land and not feeling nauseated for the first time in 3 days. But I never would have imagined that 13-year-old boy, 51 years later, in Grenada, thrilled to be your senior clinical associate dean, and never prouder than wearing these badges. So as you celebrate this milestone with your family and friends, I do ask you to, above all, be yourself. Do not lose sight of who you are, why you chose this path, and what makes you special. Do not let this white coat define you, imprison you, confine you. Let it empower you, celebrate you, and inspire you to be the best doctor and the best person that you can be. Class of 2008, congratulations on reaching this first of many milestones in your professional career. All of us here, and I speak for the entire community at St. George's, are so very proud of you and truly excited for you. Looking out at this class as I'm able to do from this nice perch, I know that the future of medicine is in very, very good hands. Please know that not only I, but all of us wish you continued personal and professional success always. God bless.
Thank you, Dr. Grant, for those very inspiring and encouraging words for our students here today. So at this time, St. George's University School of Medicine will now present you with a white coat symbolizing your entry into the profession and your commitment to uphold the duties and trust associated with medicine and with medical training. So I now invite our college directors and faculty to take the stage as they will be quoting you guys today. Our quoters today include Dr. Theophanis Colias, Dr. Aisha Sultana, Dr. Gabrielle Walcott-Bedeau, Dr. Rohan Cummings, Dr. Batavatsalam Peter, Dr. Tiffany Clemenson, Dr. Stephen Onikbinde, and Dr. Kevlian Andrew. Dr. Sasha Lake, our Assistant Dean of Academic Affairs, will call each student by your name and college. Those students who have with them today a physician, family member, or loved one will be quoted by those physicians. Please hold your applause until all students have been quoted and keep the aisles clear for the duration of the quoting.
I will now like to call on the students from Hippocrates College to receive their white coats, please. Kaya Lessie. Elsie Warwick. Priya Gajar. Samara Behari. Sajad Jawad. Gurgen Gazaran. Gabriel Goldsmith. Nate Tate. Zawaria Karim. Maywan Musa. Raynell Ramatali. Johannes Gabello. Kimberly Van Altuis. Ashant Santharan. Rohan Kalisipidu. Rachel Freeman. Adonis Brock Murray. Samuel Job. Jack Hendricks. Justin Sukdio. Yusuf Gaber. Simon D. Madagapade Dona. Chineda Lawless. Sydney Brianne Williams. Noina Fabre. Sydney Page. William Zucker. Aniruddha Doshi. Tiolu Waname Ayeni. Virginia Benjamin. Sophia Godolfo. Geeta Ilangmam. Jack Farrar. Daniela, sorry, let me take that again. Daniela Rungifo Marello. I will now like to call from the students from McIndoe College to receive their white coats. Cole Owsley. Michael Romero. Cassidy Kelano. Madison Donnelly. Anas Habal. Lumen Badar. Helen On. Sadie Thomas. Nara Rosalie Norgill. Tiara Singletary. Yesenia Porras. Rumsha Farouk. Stephanie Stark. Storm Gibbons. Veronica DeGraff. Kayla Stewart. Vanessa Puche. Hassan Mansour. Brandon Asiama. Cameron Sinanan. Justin Hiralal. Miriam Mina. Mary Elkamos Zachary. Ismail Ali. Stacy Magner. Altina Kukai. Michael Concilio. Mark Kahn. Aaron Cowan. Aiden Jaho. Sharif Al-Jayusi. Omar Oriana. Amram Rohaminov. I will now be calling on the students from Metrodora College to receive their white coats. Tal Paranes. Cameron Isabel Neiman. Tiffany Toe. Aren Nazarian. Marie Mozoyan. Stephanie Gorensvai Rocco. Rasul Hassan. Fatima Ahmed. Vincent Guneri. Abdallah Ahmed. Jordan Gant. Rishi Avula. Patrick Bauseman. Nessa Heather. Amina Ima. Hayat Kumase. Nahil Khan. Sydney David. Rachel Shanaba. Priscilla Inajo. Melissa Tiffany. Rithek Eleti. Pushminder Sandhu. Yodi Kandelov. Jenna Gillen. Shuka Bista. Priya Jengesh Mehta. Sneha Geethita Kamdula. Adrian Walters. Kelsey Peters. Disha Patel. Caitlin Albano. Jason Stein. Anthony Arian. Ahmed El Gayesh. Ibrahim Bota. Zainad Omosaya. Jesus Arredondo. Tara Gerson. I will now like to call on the students from Peabody College to receive their white coats. Star Williams. Simone Stirrup. Sophie Duong. Merlin Bope Miongolo. Nida Aljabar. Amek Paramlarkar. Naya Cavallo. Parnrada Lachantawi. Yi Shai Shou. Ertaza Mehta. Muskan Manroy. Liatile Simon. Ryan Brooks. Thomas Arabi Garcia. Albert Hernandez. Sydney Weber. Pablo Villegas. Sana Yakub. Kritika Boca. Elijah Kimbrough. Abdelrahman Hamza. Brian Keene. Andrew Polyak. Jessica Amponsa Nakasa. Diana Mohammed Chaban. Molalua Oke. Serena Estiagi. Tanette Brown. Haris Amir. Ikpo Ntekam. Dion Kim. Jay Ching. Nalia Fatima. I will now like to call on the students who would be quoted by their designees. Fahad Tanvir Anwar, quoted by his uncle, Dr. Mohammed Idris. Mikhail Bursing, quoted by his mentor, Dr. Stefan Ramroop. Tamina Troko Sobihari, quoted by his mother, Dr. Ada Sobihari. Abihenga Kandimala, quoted by her father, Dr. Kandimala. Ben Riley, quoted by his mother, Dr. Emily Riley. Ogoguwo Oke, quoted by his father, Dr. Ogoguwo Oke.
I would like to add my warmest and most sincere congratulations to you guys, class of 2028. I would now like to call on Dr. Anna Cyrus Murden, our Assistant Dean for Simulation, and a proud SGU SOM alumnus to lead you in the professional commitment.
Good afternoon. Did you guys just got your white coat? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Right. At this time, it is indeed my honor to invite the class of 2028 and any physician in the room to please stand and join me in reciting the professional commitment which could be found in the front of your program. This commitment was written by a student task force in 1995 and has been recited at each of our School of Medicine ceremonies. You guys ready? All right. Today is the beginning of my medical education and training as a physician. I acknowledge my responsibility to continue and pursue the knowledge and understanding until that day when I will cease to be a practicing physician. I am entering training for a noble profession in which my interests must be subservient to those who seek my assistance. I must be ever conscious of the value of my fellow health professionals and treat them with respect at all times. My classmates at St. George's University are now my colleagues, and I owe to them the same support and encouragement to achieve their goals as I hope to receive from them. I will work alongside my colleagues and professors with tolerance, compassion, and honesty. I acknowledge my obligation to adhere to the University Honor Code and to conduct myself with integrity and in an ethical manner at all times henceforth. I shall do all within my power to show myself an example of all that is honorable and good throughout my medical career. It is a privilege to have been given the opportunity to become a physician. May I be ever conscious of that privilege and never abuse it. Congratulations, class of 2028. Please be seated.
So on behalf of St. George's University School of Medicine, I would like to thank our students and their families, our faculty, staff, and administrators, our specially invited guests, for your support and your presence here at this ceremony. So we're asking that everyone please remain seated and keep the aisles clear until our students have exited as directed by the ushers as they follow the dais party. And thank you all again for joining us today. There is going to be a short drinks reception at Monica Hall. Thank you everyone, and congratulations again. you.